Hi there, folks. Welcome to the A Minute to Midnight Show. My name's Tony, coming to you from New Zealand. And with me today, I have Jamie Walden in Colorado. So one of us is in summer. Well, we're just about at the end of summer, and you're in winter. I imagine it's pretty cold in Colorado, but I know you've been traveling a lot, Jamie. So welcome back.
Yeah, thanks. I've been traveling a lot. It's actually pretty awesome here. It's spring's breaking out, and if it's 60 degrees where I'm at in the Rockies, it feels like 75. So it's beautiful out here.
Oh, you're that warm at the moment?
Well, just because the altitude, we're at a pretty high altitude here in the Rockies, so the sun is just awesome. I never get tired of it. We get tons of really good piercing sunlight that makes it feel great.
Ah, yeah, it would do. Absolutely. So, yeah, loads of things happening, really interesting things. I suppose the latest one, which we could talk about a wee bit, is the Trump Gaza video. I mean, I might even drop a little that video in here or something underneath. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it is. The insanity of what's getting communicated out there right now is beyond comprehension. And even, just the brazenness with which Trump is willing to push these things. It's just, I know nobody's ever seen a personality like him. Obviously there's a lot of good things happening, but that's what I keep trying to warn people of. I'm like, that's exactly how deception comes in, or a counterfeit light, or the light workers, right? We know that Satan himself transforms himself as an angel of light and masquerades as a minister of righteousness. So there is actually part and parcel a ministry that's occurring. Trump is trying to minister to the American psychology. Trump and Elon Musk, hand in glove, for lack of a better word. Yeah. And and they are masquerading. It's a giant masquerade ball as ministers of righteousness. But anybody with spiritual eyes or a discerning mind, even if they're not in the faith, they can still have a discerning mind to be able to read see the forest through the trees about what's going on with Doge, the AI infrastructure, the AI supercomputing, the Great Reset. I keep telling people, you do understand that Trump is the one initiating the Great Reset. It's not Klaus Schwab. President Trump is the one initiating the Great Reset. That is the purpose of the Doge. That's the intentionality of this complete I call it a corporate restructuring of the United States of America on a global sphere. Yeah. This is why we're willing to alienate all of our long-term allies and do all these trade tariffs and mess with economies over here, mess with their own economy there, and blah, blah, blah. This is the reason why they're blowing the lid on all the corruption, all the disgusting depths of corruption. It's actually to create the right social fervor so they can roll out the answers to that corruption through this hyper technocratic based infrastructure that has been put in place, not just by Elon Musk. I mean, he's an easy target, but a lot of the different tech oligarchs, they actually call it technomancy. So like necromancy, as in a conjuring or a summoning. But they actually operate in that same hyper spiritual realm through technological advances. So that gets into what you might see about D-Wave quantum computing, or sentient AI technology, or advanced general technology, or super AI technology. It is actually coined as technomancy. So even the creator of the D-Wave quantum computer. I can't think. His last name's Rose. I can't think of his first name right now. But he specifically talks about it summoning demons. That's his words verbatim. I got it right. Gordy Rose is his name. He said when he initiated quantum computer, he said, watch for the tsunamis of demons coming through quantum computing. He also said it's the equivalent of the return of the old ones, spoken of by H.P. Lovecraft. He's speaking about a golden age. Does that language sound familiar? Whenever they talk about the old ones, they're saying the golden age. He said it's like standing next to the altar of an alien god when they turn on quantum computer. And he said it is a summoning of a race of super intelligent AI. So when you hear their language, they know exactly what they're seeing. And that's why when you see, within the first week of the inauguration, Trump saying, that they're going to initiate this quantum computer AI based, even mRNA based type of immunological processes to roll out. They're not kidding when they talk about exposing all this corruption and then a biometric backed ways by which to mitigate corruption. They're not kidding when he talks about, making the United States of America the AI super center for the whole face of the world. He's not kidding. That was foreknown by even Aldous Huxley and Sir Francis Bacon, when they saw this was in the 1600s, they saw the United States of America as a place where Atlantis would rise again and usher in a return of the golden age of the gods. Any of that language sound familiar? I'm like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, do you understand what they're saying? Even Elon Musk just tweeted yesterday or 2 days ago about the, what did he say? Something about event horizon of singularity. It's like what? 4 words, event horizon of singularity is all he tweeted. But a guy like you, Tony, a guy like me, are many multitude other people out there. But like, we see that, we know exactly what he's communicating. Event horizon is specifically speaking about a gateway to hell that's opened up through technologies to allow hell to actually come onto the earth. And then the singularity is the merger, the intermarrying and the merger of 2 dispersion things becoming one, including technology and biology merging into one. The singularity of thing, the event horizon of singularity. So this language that they're using all the time should cause everybody to get very serious about doing business with their holy God who loves them, because they are in no uncertain terms broadcasting, which broadcasting is, think of the language of casting, broadly casting. It's spell casting is what it's considered, but they're very overtly broadcasting exactly where all this is going. At the same time, the Americans, for the part and partial, for the vast majority, are marveling after these things. They're applauding every step. They're applauding every revelation. They're applauding every appointee. They're applauding every whatever. But what they don't understand is the tactical feint maneuver that is occurring at the exact same time. And I get it, because it is awesome. It's awesome to see the oligarchs and the fascists and the pedophiles in Hollywood and the elite and the corruption and the mismanagement and USAID and all these other organizations be completely exposed and obliterated and decapitated. It's awesome, right? It's like, it gives you a sense of patriotism and even hope again. But I always say, eyes wide open. That is exactly how a deception is manifest, through good. Even it goes back to even the garden with the Nakash, with the serpent, with the Ha-Satan, right? The accuser. And it was a counterfeit light deception. Did God really say, you shall not surely die? You can be like God. See, it was a good thing. And what's it say about Eve? It says she saw that the fruit was good, desirable, and pleasing. Everything about the fruit and what was being offered was perfectly good and beneficial and pleasing. That's the deception. A deception, somebody putting a boot on your neck is not a deception, Tony. You know that. A guy breaking in your house with a ski mask on and holding you hostage and shaking you down for money, that's not a deception. Now, a false brother coming into your reality, playing a long game of being very kind and intimate and serving and hospitable, and then slowly sowing discord between you and your wife, or between you and your friends, or between you and the other members in your intimate church body, and like, hey, don't you think it's weird that Tony does this? Hey, what do you think about this? That is the deception. It comes through counterfeit light, and that's what we're seeing breaking out right now in real time.
It's really interesting that also Alice Bailey, the mother of the New Age movement and founder of the Lucis Trust, big in the United Nations. Alice Bailey, long dead, but she forecasted all those years ago that 2025 would be the year of the new light and the coming their Maitreya Messiah. I don't think it's any accident that we're seeing this happen in 2025, considering the influence that Alice Bailey has had on politics and the United Nations and all that. And she also used that term, the Golden Age,
yes,
in her writings. So to me, this is like, I mean, people have seen Donald Trump as some outsider coming in, and I've been saying since 2016, before he was even president, no. Trump is there. He's been put there. He's their man. He is the guy they want in position. And, oh, man, there's so many reasons why, but I knew that back then. And it didn't all come to fruition in 2016. It just wasn't really the full time, but now is. So his second term is...
And isn't it profound what has been accomplished in basically a month?
Yeah.
I mean, people's heads are reeling with the speed and even the efficacy with which the Trump administration, along with the corporate interests like Elon Musk, Larry Ellison, whatever, Sam Altman ilk, what they're accomplishing, it's beyond comprehension. Can you imagine him having 8 years more? 7+ years more, with them even trying to change the laws through the federal legal system and allow him to run for a third term. I mean, it is profound what he's pulling off. And, it shouldn't be lost on anybody, going back to Alice Bailey in 2025, Trump constantly speaking about the Aquarian age, because the Aquarian age as well, too, is a transformational time in the year 2025. It also shouldn't be lost on the listeners about the Deagle report, specifically everything coming into full global alignment in 2025. Yeah. It also shouldn't be lost on the listeners that the Essenes, the priest of Zadok, of which John the Baptist was one, the only priestly order that broke away from the Levitical priesthood because of their corruption, their manipulation of the scriptures. But the sons of Zadok of the Essenes were the only ones even mentioned by Josephus to have a 100% biblical prophecy accuracy. And everything that they did, especially with regards to the first coming of Jesus Christ, that they said the end of the age of grace and the beginning of the time of the end and the final Jubilee is the year 2025 on our Gregorian calendar. So everything is in a convergent zenith at 2025. And it's fascinating, too, even like what's going on with CERN, our D-Wave quantum computer, or the Vatican with the Pope getting ready to die, if he's not already dead. And they just haven't told the masses, to what's going on with the restructuring of the global economic systems, the repatriation of gold, and the rollout of digital currencies through blockchain technology, and the fact that Trump literally worships Apollo. Like Apollo, like constantly. Everything he does is about Apollo. He emulates Apollo. He has edifices and frescoes and busts and commissioned paintings about Apollo. His entire thing is about, he has his ceiling painted in effigy to Apollo. And isn't it interesting that they strategically moved the inauguration from the steps of the Capitol into the rotunda of the Capitol building, under which he was under the Sumain Kibble prophetic deities of old is in that rotunda in the Capitol. And the oculus of the Capitol sound familiar? Everything he's doing with these guys underneath the apotheosis of Washington, which was Washington becoming like God, Apollo or Apollyon in nature. That is what is in our Capitol building. That's the only thing these guys ever worship, right? And so you have this supernatural, preternatural, mystery school, occultic based, adept type ilk, mixing with the technological, mixing with the natural, mixing with the supernatural all at the same time. And it's been happening at such breakneck speed that nobody can keep up with it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, even going back to that video, that AI video that Trump just published, the Gaza one, I mean, that's going to rile up people in the Middle East. You've got bearded belly dancers and a golden edifice of Trump, a golden statue, reminds me of Nebuchadnezzar's golden statue.
Yep.
And you know, all of these imagery things in there, that's no accident. It's just like no normal president would put out a video like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like done for a reason.
And here to me, Tony, is the biggest trigger for me when I saw that, when it came out yesterday or whatever, was the reality, what it speaks about the Antichrist. And by the way, I'm going to make this unequivocal statement. I do not believe Trump is the Antichrist. So I know my language, it may seem that I'm trying to infer that. I'm not inferring Trump as the Antichrist. I do not believe he is at all. I believe that he has the potential to be one of the 10 kings that is subservient to the Antichrist when it's all said and done. But I do not believe he's the Antichrist at all. But I believe he's fomenting and terraforming everything perfectly for the Antichrist to come into, whether it's the Abraham Accords, to his affinity for the Noahic laws, the Noahide laws coming out from the Talmudic, whether it's his Kabbalistic leanings, he has a high level worship and an adeptness in Kabbalism. But what I noticed more than anything was what he's doing with Gaza and his whole intention for Gaza, because of what it says particular about the Antichrist, or the king of fierce continents, as is listed in Daniel, is he pitches his tent, he sets up his main headquarters, for lack of a better word, between the sea and the Temple Mount. That's Gaza. There's only one place that you can do that. So they use October 7th, which everybody at this point knows it was a total false flag. It was allowed to happen. They had all the intelligence, all the warning, allowed it to happen, to get the global collective consciousness fervor to do what they did in Gaza, to level it, literally bomb it into oblivion and level it so they can scrape it and rebuild it and quantify it economically. And notice Trump's fixation on Gaza. Kushner was talking about it 10 years ago, how wonderful the beachfront property in Gaza would be. Kushner is a Kabbalist. Kushner is so integrated into what's going to be going on with the third temple and the two-state solution. It's sickening. And here you have Trump releasing this AI video about the glitz and glamour and glory and licentiousness of the Gaza Strip, of all places, fixated on worship of him. Do you know the entirety of the video was a worship of Trump? Yeah. It was golden statues, golden idols, golden this, golden that, gold, which is Apollo or Apollyon. That's all of that is Apollyon-based worship. And that is the place that I believe he is terraforming, because it's where they know, the adepts know, that the Antichrist is going to rule and reign out from there and eventually do all that he does with regards to Jerusalem proper. So it's, again, plain sight. It's like this Grok thing that got released by Elon Musk, and it's a picture of a black hole with Saturn in it. Well, Saturn is Apollyon, is Abaddon, the great destroyer coming on the earth. You know, it goes back to CERN, which is built over the ancient city of Apollyon of Greek origin, or Abaddon in Greek, but Apollyon in Roman, and it was said to be the gateway to the underworld. That's where they built CERN, that they call the key, and they call it the bottomless pit, and they have the Hindu god of Shiva to destroy our worlds outside of it, by which they say they're going to loose things onto the earth. So you can't even intellectually compartmentalize what's actually happening right now. That's how crazy it all is. And it's like converging so fast, most people don't even understand what's happening.
Back in 2016, just before Trump was elected, I wrote an article saying I believed that he would be, and that if I was right, there was a whole lot of 777 basically associated with his first term in office, the seventh, and it all added up to 777. 2014, in the IMF, Christine Lagarde did this really weird occult speech about, it turns out 777, and nobody understood what she was talking about. And I wrote in 2016, I believe what she was saying is watch Donald Trump as the man, the 777 man. That's the beginning of things. There's this weird an old Nazi cult of Odin, which based around 777 and the rising of a phoenix-like person. You've got Aleister Crowley wrote a book on 777. I don't think any of this is any coincidence. I think the 777s with Donald Trump was to signal to those in the know, in the occult, this is our man, this is the time. And I've said that since 2016.
I think it's interesting too, Tony. Again, I'm not saying Trump is the Antichrist. I believe he's a precursor to it. But think of the attributes of the Antichrist. It says it was a king who was not, who was, but was not, but will be again. Yeah. Trump had a presidency, then he's not, then he is again. It says he receives a mortal headwound from which he's miraculously healed, right? And everybody marvels after him. It says that he'll be a man of fierce countenance who worships the god of fortresses, a god his fathers knew not. The god of fortresses is literally Apollo. Trump literally worships Apollo. His entire New York penthouse is all effigies to Apollo. It says that with arrogancy, he will speak proud, boastful words. The number one attribute will be arrogancy. And then it also says with flattery, he will deceive many. And while many are preaching peace and security, he will deceive many as also. By the way, the golden age, which is the return of Saturn, our return of Palos, this golden age of the gods, the single attribute of the golden age is peace and security. That's the definition of it. Like that is the mythological definition of the golden age, was a return of the gods of old to a restoration of peace and security. So, it's like you can't check any more boxes if you tried, including even the counterfeit omniscience and omnipresence that's being achieved through technological advances, through the technocracy of Elon Musk and all of his ilk and what they're rolling out. So you can see that the infrastructure is in place. And it does not take very much of a catalyst at all at this point to really roll out the big show, for lack of a better word, of the book of Revelation and Daniel and Jeremiah and Ezekiel and Nahum and Zephaniah and elsewhere in the book of Joel. Like you can see how quickly all these things could come onto the scene in a matter of months once they get the green light and the Lord allows them to carry out what they want to carry out.
And Elon Musk has got to be somebody to watch closely, as well. He's the guy that could potentially own the technology that could create the image of the beast and cause people to worship the image. Elon Musk is an interesting character. So much power and so much money. Still a puppet, I believe. He was put there, given the opportunity like all of these billionaires, but he's a man to be watching. This is an interesting time, that combination of Trump and Musk. And you mentioned Larry Ellison and Altman and all them too,
And I actually would make this speculation, it's just my opinion. It doesn't mean that it's right, but the Elon Musk to me is the highest level candidate for the false prophet as anybody else. I know everybody instantly wants to go to the Pope. And I'm like, I get it. That's the classical dispensationalist, academic perspective on who the false prophet would be, that it has to be of the Catholic Church. I get that why, and I get the historical context of why, especially with the Protestant versus Catholic-based things going on back in the 1200s on up into the 1800s, right? So I'm tracking. I understand that perspective. However, I think in light of the book of Revelation and the emerging revelations of the book of Revelation as time advances, that we have to allow ourselves to let go of what we've been classically trained and actually let the Holy Spirit inform us through the scriptures to have, just have our hands open on maybe our historical understandings of the scriptures to go, maybe that's not exactly how it is. Because when you look at what Elon Musk is doing, he is not singularly unique to Christianity, Islam, Catholicism, Mormonism, or anything in between. He's kind of a neutral entity that is serving as a prophet for all of humanity about the entirety of the future of humanity, not the United States of America and not a particular religious sect. He is prophesying on behalf of the collective consciousness and the collective evolutionary process of the entire species of humanity. And he has the capability to do it through these technologies, qubits and quantum based Planck tech, gluon tech, like things that most people can't even conceive of. He's actually doing. And with blockchain and universal basic income and super AI rewriting mRNA encoding, life extension technologies, off-Earth-based colonization. I mean, you name it, this guy's already done it. Neuralink, hive mind, Neuralink, telepathic communication capabilities. Like, how about life extension through DNA, corrupted DNA rewriting of your DNA, so you're actually no longer created in the image of God. Like, it's done. And Elon Musk has done it all. And most people don't understand that. He's a multi-generational particular bloodline, going back beyond his grandfather, who literally coined the word technocracy and established the world system for a technocratic overlord-based system, and his mom's a high-level occult adept. And there's all kinds of enigmatic things surrounding Elon Musk, including his name, right? So I see that he's as viable as an option for the false prophet as the new pope is going to be. We know that this current pope is probably dead, most likely, and they're starting the processes through the Vatican pomp and procession for the initiation or the anointing, quote unquote, anointing of a new pope. There's cardinals from all over the world amassing at the Vatican right now. And we do know, according to Malachi Martin's prophecy and others, that there is a final last pope. And according to all their works, as soon as this pope is dead, then whoever the next one is will be the final pope. There's seminal work by Dr. Tom Horn called Petrus Romanus that goes in a great, excellent academic, scholarly, well-vetted, detailed research and footnote annotated work about the last pope and what's about ready to happen at the Vatican. So.
Yes, and Elon Musk has the potential to call down fire from the sky and all that too. I mean, he owns the sky almost at the moment with his satellites and stuff. So Musk is definitely an interesting character to watch. And this whole Pope situation is really interesting as well. It's like converging all on 2025.
Yeah, all the same. I mean, you think like Jerusalem, Temple Institute, red heifers, two-state solution, Palestinian state. How about the consolidation of Greenland and Canada, blah, blah, blah. You're starting to see this divergence into the 10 kingdoms of the book. The European Union is one. Eurasia is one. Now North America is going to be one. You see the 10 kingdoms coming onto the scene, the counterfeit omniscience and omnipresence through technology, a global economic infrastructure matrix to where you cannot buy or sell, and digitally you can be turned off from the global economy, the pandemics, the World War III, the whatever. I mean, you name it, from CERN, and what they're doing at CERN, the Gothard tunnel-based ceremonies and the quantum computing. I'm telling people can't fathom what that means. No. And they're operating at a whenever you hear the word quantum, you're basically working with super string theory and quantum entanglement, which is actually, at the end of the day, a simplified version is a tearing of the veil between the seen and unseen. That's the world that these guys are operating in. And so when they say they have super intelligent AI, artificial intelligence coming through sentient quantum realm of quantum entanglement, We're not talking about ones and zeros and copper wires and gold conductors and resistors anymore. We're talking about a spiritual terraforming of the earth on a level that we don't even understand. And they talk about it brazenly and openly, and everybody's applauding them for it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Also, I'm thinking it's really interesting. Well, it will be interesting to see what happens when Musk and Trump allegedly go to Fort Knox to have a look and see if the gold is there. Because if it's not, that would be the quickest way to collapse the economy, I think. The US dollar would collapse, and if you want to rebuild a whole system, that could be the way to do it.
Yeah, and let me give you my speculation on the Doge. By the way, the Doge, they didn't choose that name out of a hat. It's not just an acronym. The Doge comes from actually ancient Venetian Empire, which was one of the greatest empires on the world. Now today it's just the city of Venice that's left, but actually it was an empire that superseded the Etruscans and the Romans that lasted over 1,000 years. I'm talking a mega empire. Most people don't even know anything about it. And the Doge was actually a particular member that was chosen from among the people that was both the head of state as well as a head of the oligarchy. That is Elon Musk, by the way. He was a sovereign prince and he's elected for life. And I believe that the Doge is bringing in the counterfeit sleight of hand to actually accomplish the Great Reset. The Great Reset was spoken to and initiated by whatever, the Davos groups and all these other guys and Soros or whatever, all these other freak shows out there. But I actually believe that Trump and Elon Musk are the ones that are going to roll out the Great Reset. But remember, it comes as if they're ministering righteousness.
Yeah.
It's a masquerade ball. So all this corruption, all this money waste, all these firings, all this blah, 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 that's actually part and parcel to what we would understand as a corporate restructuring. They're doing a corporate restructuring in your face, and you're applauding them as if they're dealing with corruption. They're not. They are, but they're not. They are, but they're not, right? Like they're actually setting the stage to have a controlled collapse, and then offer the solution. They are initiating the reset in our faces, and nobody's even picking up on it. That's even like pulling back in from all of our foreign entanglements and our foreign policy and snubbing all of our allies and the tariffs and all this. This is what it looks like to do corporate restructuring in real time. You just think it's like this return to American nationalism. It's not. It's a controlled demolition of the global order in order to bring in a new order of things, and is all being done by Trump and Elon Musk. Not even the administration and all these appointees, whether it's the Hegseths or the Patels or the Tulsi Gabbards or whatever. These are all awesome appointees. I don't think they're going to have any power at the end of the day, because Trump and Elon Musk and the Doge are actually the ones calling the shots for everybody, everywhere, all the time. And even this Fort Knox fiasco, I think, is a means by which to inform everybody of this great wide scale corruption. There's not even gold. There's not even whatever. There's all this waste. There's trillions of dollars here. There's billions of dollars here. There's millions of dollars here. So they can roll out a new economic monetary system with controls to eliminate corruption, and it will be linked and synced to biometric data and blockchain technology. That's what I think they're doing right in front of our faces.
And, with the church, and a lot of people had spoken out, could you imagine like 4 more years under Biden and Harris, how much worse that would be? And, and at least this is happening under Trump, and we've got some freedom as Christians and all that. But I see that as part of the deception. You got to believe that. You have to believe the elections were fair and that Trump won because he was the popular vote, rather than this is a setup. Having Biden and Harris and that communistic type of thing so that people have enough of that, and then they put somebody new in to fix it all. It was never organic. I think it was it was set up, a complete setup,
It was. It's the good old school Hegelian dialectic, which has been being used for a very long time. And the reason why they keep using the same dialectic, which is a philosophical term, but why they keep using the same dialectic is because it works.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, why? If it works, why change it? Keep using the same thing, and that's exactly what it was. The Biden, Harris, and even Harris being the Democratic pick, all that was on purpose. The shame, the international shame that Biden brought to the United States, the implosion of our military, of our national identity, of our whatever, you name it. Even our classically held, family values, moralistic compass of our nation state. It was specifically put in place so that at the appointed time, it could have a controlled demolition, and then you bring in the counterfeit light. That Trump is playing his part. I've been like you, Tony, since 2016. I said he is there because he was picked to be there. Yes. You need to understand what he's saying and the imagery and the iconography that surrounds him. And again, this isn't for everybody, and I get it, which is why we can speak to it and hopefully inform, a few of those with ears to hear here and there. But the occult and the adept of the mystery schools, they know exactly what's going on. And in fact, that's the only language these guys are ever using. So I don't have to fish or be speculative or hyperbolic or sensational to make these statements. I'm saying them very definitively about Trump and the administration and everything going on, because that's what the occult and the mystery school teachings have been saying for hundreds of years. He's just saying it out loud, but unless you understand the language and the iconography and the timing and the dates and times and the celestial stuff and all that stuff that they're doing, you would miss it. You'd go, oh, that's cool, the golden age. It's like, do you know what he just said? Yeah. Oh, that's cool, the Great Awakening. Do you know what that means? Oh, that's cool, MAGA. Do you have any clue what MAGA means in every occultic circle ever? Yeah. MAGA is not a new word. Everybody knows what MAGA means in the mystery school religions. It's the highest level and act and practitioners of sorceries and deception and subterfuge. Like, it's like you don't have to be conspiratorial to understand what's going on. You just have to be informed. You have to be read, and to understand what's going on. Because there's not a mystery here that we have to fish for speculation. We don't have to speculate. They're telling you very plainly who they are, what they're doing, and where they're taking us.
Okay. So as Christians listening to this, what do we do? What can we practically do? Where should we stand on this? How should we react to what's going on?
Yeah, I'd say first off, don't drink the Kool-Aid. It's like going eyes wide open. Am I glad about what's happening? Absolutely. I mean, from a secular humanist perspective, as an American citizen, as a young-ish man with 3 teenage kids, and stuff like that, as a war fighter who spent the entirety of my life to serve my communities and protect and defend the people around me as a Marine and as a police officer and as a firefighter and as a paramedic, and I've spent my whole life in serving the members of this nation. I want to go, yeah, that's good stuff, which it is on the surface. But for those with ears to hear, do not be deceived about the counterfeit sleight of hand. There's a sleight of hand happening at the same time. So can you be kind of excited and hopeful for the future? Yes, you can be. Can you be completely suspect and apprehensive about the future? Yes, you can do both at the same time, right? You can actually have both going on at the same time. Like, yes, the corruption's being torn down. Why is the corruption being so easily exposed? How are they allowed? Because they want it to be exposed. They want it to be laid bare. They want it so it's like there's this weird duality happening right now. So for the believers, if there's anything you should take away, from even hearing this short discussion with Tony and I is that you need to keep your eyes fixed on Jesus Christ, the author and perfecter of your faith. Because if you're looking to anything else, even some nationalistic revival or whatever, global economic restoration or a righting of fascist-based wrongs and oligarch-based wrongs in the world, you're going to be totally deceived. But if you're fixated on Jesus Christ and you only have eyes for him, his word, his spirit, and you're doing business with him on a daily basis, none of this stuff is going to shock you. None of it's going to surprise you. None of it's going to catch you unaware, and you are not going to fall victim to the deception. So if there's anything, the reason why Tony and I and so many other out there talk about these things is so that you would have eyes for your Lord and Savior alone. You would do business with him alone. You would solidify your identity in Christ alone. You would solidify your relationship in him alone. And all these other things become strangely dim. The announcement after announcement after announcement isn't going to rock you spiritually or emotionally or physically. You'll be secure in the Lord. You just need to understand your identity in Christ and what he said is going to happen. What he said is going to happen is happening. And we haven't even seen the big show yet, So if anything, it should cause us to really get very serious and intentional about intimacy with our King Jesus.
Totally agree, absolutely, and do some physical preparation too, if you possibly can, for riding out tough times. I would suggest that to people too. So now, where do people find you online?
Yeah, they can find me at omegadynamics.org. Also, our camp here in Colorado is calicobuffalobasecamp.com. And then you can find me on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. I feel so stupid even saying, I hate social media. Yeah. It's such garbage, but yeah, you can find me on YouTube just under Jamie Walden. You can subscribe to the sermons and different, interviews and stuff there. And yeah, man, that's where people can find me if they're looking for it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for a really amazing discussion today, Jamie. And I think people need to share this video widely.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me on, brother. I know it's a lot of ground to cover, and we're just getting warmed up. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Cheers. Thanks.
Thanks, Tony. Bye-bye.
And folks, remember our website, aminutetomidnight.com. Please make sure you subscribe to us there. And remember too, A Minute to Midnight is run 100% by donations. And if you get anything out of our videos and our shows and things, perhaps prayerfully consider whether you could help us out financially. I know it's hard for everyone and money's in short supply for a lot of us. So if you're able to donate, it's always much appreciated to help us keep going. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Also, any music that we use in the shows, I've written, played and recorded, and if you want to download some of it, you can find some free music of mine at aminutetomidnight.com, as well as articles posted there too that you won't find other places. God bless, God willing, we'll be back with another episode in a few days' time.